author of The Recruiter Guy's Guide to Finding a Job. Recruiter Guy Bill Humbert is here in studio. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Joe.
It's great to have you. Yeah, it's been a little while since we've talked, but as we get to the end of the year, it sometimes seems to be the end of companies thinking about hiring. Sometimes they start to kind of calm down November, December. But that has changed a little bit because they still don't have the employees they need. We see a lot of people. In fact, I'm amazed. There's I should mention for vets coming up on the I think it's the 11th or the 14th. I'll have to find out the date. But I will tell you, there is a big recruiting event for veterans coming up at the Southtown Exposition Center. I believe it's the 14th because the 11th is Veterans Day, so it must be the 14th. But I'll tell you more about it here on the show as we get closer. That's a great opportunity for people looking for a job. But the point is, that's happening. There's a recruiting event with Smiths. There's a whole bunch of different ones out there, and they are desperate. People are really looking for employees. I see signs posted everywhere right now. So maybe this year's a little different. They're going to hire November, December if they need to.
Well, you know, I've been on the show before and said this is the best time of the year to be out there.
You have said that, especially January. You love to talk about that.
Well, I love to talk about December over the holidays.
Yeah.
Because everybody's feeling warm and fuzzy, and it's a great time to interview.
Good time
to
negotiate.
That's right, a good time to negotiate. But then you don't have to hire them until the new budget year. So you pick out the person you want and just say, hey, because of the budgets and everything, you don't want to start over Christmas anyway. Start the beginning of January. We get you going. So it's a great time to be out there sourcing the right people.
I like this. This is great. All right. Well, here's the thing, though. I mean, a lot of these companies are just like a wish and a prayer for a job. Or, you know, they put up a sign out front. They throw something up on ZipRecruiter or Monster or who knows what website, and they're just hoping that some candidates find it. Maybe they peruse some resumes. That's a lot more work than it sounds like, by the way. And they're just hoping things work out. That's not necessarily the best plan.
That's correct, Joe. You know, in my experience, I've been recruiting since 1981. And in my experience, what many companies do is instead of going out there and actively recruiting candidates, what they'll do is they'll post on the computer, on the different job sites, and then they'll pray. Dear God, I hope that the person I'm looking for is looking. And so what you see is you hope that your candidate is grazing at the same time you are. And those cows way back in the distance, those cows are the ones that posted and prayed months ago. and they're gone.
Yeah, they're
It's
done.
just the ones in the foreground that are now posting and praying.
And those may not even be your best choices.
They may not even be a single one that you want.
Oh boy. Yeah, that's not a good plan, is it?
No. No.
I mean, you really want to get the best employees.
You do. Those
and
are
we
the
want
passive
those ones that are in the back there that don't need to look, that
Right.
aren't looking necessarily.
Right. You know, I've had people say, I don't want anybody from my competitor. I go,
Yeah, you do.
and I said, well, is there one person over there that you really would, well, yeah, there is this one man or woman.
Don
that
Draper. Do you want? Sorry.
Or not.
All right? Yeah, he's got some problems. Let's just be honest. He's good at first.
At first. So, you know, so it's important to do the easy things.
Right.
And, you know, Joe, one of the easy things is to put all of your positions on your website
Okay.
that are open. Because that passive candidate knows you're a competitor, and what they may do is go, I wonder what my competitor is doing now. And if there's a position open that might be interesting to them, if you make it easy enough, they may apply.
One of my good friends from the Air Force, who is a pilot and flew commercially as well, said that the smart man or woman will get the job the best job that they wanted, the one they hope to get. They'll get the best that they can get, with the understanding that they should always be looking for the other one because they had one when they got it, right? That old saying, I had a job when I found this one. But more importantly, he said you needed to be willing to leave and go to the competitor, and you need to be willing to do that many times. Don't be afraid of moving around to get up The latter. I thought that was interesting. Now, you don't necessarily, we've talked about this a little bit. You're looking for you do want to find a home at some point, and doing this becomes risky. But there's some truth to that, though, too, right?
Well, who typically has been at a company for a long time may suffer income-wise because they're getting the 2 to 3% income annually.
When they might be able to
increase.
make a pretty big jump.
Or they, usually in today's world, you know, if you get 5% more, that's a pretty big jump. But still, that's like twice what you may otherwise get. On the other hand, the other side of that is all of a sudden I'm looking at a resume and this person was here for a year, there for a year, there for a year.
Yeah, you
want to
keep it pretty solid, right?
Yeah, so you got to have some
2,
stability.
4, 6 years, right? There's some numbers there that help.
That's right. So if you're called a job hopper,
that's not good.
That's not good. But if you are a person who has some stability, then it works for you to make some changes through your career.
When it looks like they're growing.
Right.
Right? That's the difference, correct?
Right. Now, in companies, if the companies provide that growth, then you have that. And so you can show, you know, director's most recent, manager,
but if they don't,
lead, if they don't
you really
have
want to
it,
stay in that one same position, you know, customer service manager, not a great place to stay
or
forever.
Worse, customer service professional.
Ooh, boy.
There forever.
Yeah.
There's a balance.
Okay, so don't be afraid to move around a little bit. Let's talk about something that I wasn't familiar with. Magic of 72 hours?
The magic of 72 hours. And this is really important in recruiting.
Okay.
Remember, what I am doing is basic human psychology. I'm following that psychology. What happens when you study memory? Within 40 or within 72 hours, 40 to 95% of the soft information is lost. People forget. Okay? And so if you're recruiting somebody, let's say I'm out there and I'm recruiting you.
Okay.
And I get you all excited about the position.
Yeah.
But I don't call you for 4 days.
I'll forget all about it, won't I? It's why, and I've done this myself, I'm really bad at this. It's happened to me in the last couple months, where I see the job that I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the one I've always wanted. That's it. There it is. That's the job. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna apply for this week. Yeah. And guess what happens? You go back in to apply for it, and it's already closed.
Yep.
Why? Because the soft information is gone.
Right.
Right? That's what's happening.
Yep.
It's not, I'm just dumb and didn't do it or didn't want it. Maybe there might be some truth I didn't want it. But more often than not, it's just that,
Just forgot.
yeah, the interest isn't as high.
Right. So now, if I'm recruiting you and I talk to you about the company and get you all excited about the company, and then I call you right back within 24 hours and say, hey, Joe, the manager's just as excited as you.
Yay. It's going to work.
Come on in and, 3 or 4 days from now, the 72 hours can be stretched at that point because everybody's still excited. You're doing what it is that you need to do to prepare for the interview. So keep that within 72 hours, have the next step
Awesome.
figured out.
All right. So we've got one more thing I want to talk about before we wrap things up here. Let's talk about this. Big companies that have grown a lot in Utah. One of them that I noticed, I was always amazed at because they were tiny when they started, Cache Valley Electric. Oh my goodness, you see their trucks everywhere now. They're down here in Park City, they're in the valley, they are everywhere, and that means that they have grown. And that also means they need some employees. You're out there doing some candidate work for them.
I am recruiting for Cache Valley Electric, and what an amazing company. They started as an electrical contractor 3 years after Utah Power and Light was formed.
Wow.
3 years, 1915. So they're over 100 years old. And currently we have 2 really, really hot positions. One of them is something where there's a lot of need, and that's construction job cost accountants. So I'm looking for somebody who's got experience as a construction job cost accountant.
Who can come in there and figure out how much it's going to cost to do all the electric work.
And not only that, they'll use previous experience to give to the estimators and say, this is what it cost us in the past. Make sure you factor that into your estimate. And another one is a voice help desk position. And that's for Cache Valley Electric Technology Services, or CVE Technology Services.
Cool.
And that one's a great position because Cache Valley is a channel partner with Cisco. And this person's going to be helping companies with their issues with voice on Cisco products.
That's cool. Some
Yeah.
certifications in your future if you don't already have them.
You would like to have them, but if
Yeah.
you don't, that's fine. All they have to do is go to recruiterguy.com and send me an email. Nothing magic.
There you go. The magic of 72 hours. Do it within the next 72 or you're going to forget.
That's right.
Just saying. Lots more coming up here on the Mouth in the Morning Show right after these messages.